Yo, what's up? Welcome to Kind of Funny Games Daily for Wednesday, January 12th, 2022. I'm one of your hosts, Blessing Adeoye Jr. Joining me is Times Square's very own, the Nitro Rifle himself, twitch.tv/Andy Cortez.
Pleasure to be here with you, Bless. I saw your tweet this morning about how
relationships aren't perfect, and MeUndies is celebrating.
Okay, we're back. We're back.
So I'm assuming our audio
There you
cut
go.
out. I was just talking about how
Just for a
Bless's
minute.
tweet
Just for a
about
minute.
coffee puts you in a state unlike any other. And I had my Starbucks this morning. I'm kind of getting more of a regular order. I got a vanilla something with a bunch of cinnamon, and
vanilla
it's really
something.
Dude,
tasty.
I love the vanilla something.
Yeah, it's a vanilla
My
hot
favorite menu
one,
item.
and it's here I can read it. Grand BLDE. What does that stand for?
Great.
Bold?
BL.
BLDE. Bold?
the BBL?
Blonde?
Blonde.
Blonde.
Oh.
That's what it was. A blonde vanilla latte, and I got cinnamon powder and almond milk. And one
Hey,
pump
that sounds
of
really
white
good.
mocha.
Wait,
Yeah,
Andy,
very
are you
delicious.
just taking risks every time you order Starbucks?
No.
Wait, do you not have
Now,
a consistent order?
Yeah,
that you
you're
go to?
scaring me, bud.
well, no, because we talked about it before. I'm more of an adventurer because I never had a set thing, and I feel like this is the only thing I've ever felt set about in my life. And now I'm getting more and more consistent with it, and I think this is going to be the go-to, Kevin. I
Mm,
think this is the one,
mm.
Bless.
It's wild how much coffee can turn around my day. Because I've had those days where usually if I'm not hosting a KFGD, I don't fuck with the coffee just because like I don't need it, right? If I'm not on something at 10 a.m. or if I'm not prepping a show by 8 a.m. like I'm doing for a KFGD, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just let the energy of the day bring me forward, right? By the time I'm on a show at noon. And what I realize is that like those are my suckiest days. Like this morning, I was just hanging out, doing my thing. I was sitting down, prepping a little bit of KFGD, and then like halfway through prepping, that's usually when I go and get my do my coffee run. Usually it's by like 8:30, 9. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's take a break. Let's go on my coffee run. Let's get my iced coffee with no cream, just sweet.
You driving? You driving somewhere?
I'm driving. Yep.
Cool.
I like
That's cool.
driving. I like driving because like I like getting outside. It's an
Yeah.
excuse to
Smart,
go
that's
outside,
smart,
especially
yeah.
during the pandemic, right? Like I feel like I have less excuses, and that fucks with the amount of vitamins I'm getting from the sun, all that shit.
Mhm.
And so I drive to the Starbucks that's in Safeway, and I'm looking crusty as hell in
Of
the
course,
Safeway.
yeah.
Let me tell you, I had the thought this
Wait,
morning.
why don't you just drive to the actual Starbucks that's a block away from there?
It's like an
There's-
extra block. It's an extra block.
Kevin,
also nice to,
that's
like,
a
get
lot.
out.
But
I
it's
mean,
like
we're talking about
it's
gas
like a
mileage.
real It's like
That's
a real Starbucks.
That's an extra block
you can,
of danger. Something
you
can
can-
happen on the way there.
That's a
I
good point.
guess I just
That's
like
a really
the
good
idea
point.
of being in a real
more
Starbucks
risk.
versus the like Safeway Starbucks.
Well, the Safeway Starbucks know me at this point. That's the thing, is I have a rapport with the people there, but it's the thing of I don't put much effort into like how I look nowadays, just because I've given up. Before in the before days when I cared a little bit, I would put on socks. I'm not even putting on socks anymore. I'm
Holy
like
shit.
I'm slipping.
Just
I'm in my
walking there
sweatpants.
barefoot.
I'm slipping. I'm slipping on my shoes. Fuck the socks, and I'm walking in there. And I had the thought this morning because there was somebody that was kind of like they were eyeing me a little bit. And I was like, what's up with this guy? And then in my head, I was like, fuck, are they a kind of funny best friend? And then I was like, fuck, are they a KFBF that's seeing me in this state where I just don't give a fuck about my appearance right now because I'm just here for my coffee? And like I had
mean-
that thought on my way back. I was like, fuck, what have I done?
I think going sockless isn't even I don't care about my appearance. It's more of a I don't care. Like that's a different level of, I was not expecting the bare minimum to be I don't even want to wear socks because that's a comfort thing. I don't like that feels
Yeah.
gross to me. I
Is
can't
it
do
the
that.
effort of actually putting them on that you're just like, fuck that noise?
I'm just trying to cut out as many steps in the process
Sure.
as possible.
Okay.
And so I'm like, socks, fuck them. Like if I'm,
Get 'em out of my
dude,
face.
I'll be wearing like my pajama shirt, and I'm like, I'll just throw a sweatshirt over this. I don't care.
Now-
Or I'll even rock the kind of funny like jacket, whatchamacallit.
Have you thought
Hoodie.
about, instead of going to just Starbucks, like there's a coffee shop not too far away from you. Why not just go there?
Which one are you talking about?
I mean, I don't want to give names. I don't know how you feel about that.
No, yeah, don't give names. But
Yeah,
I
Don't
can,
give
yeah.
names. Don't give
there
names.
probably is one
Yeah.
that is around me. I've just not done the effort of like
Alright,
figuring out.
alright.
I think it's also the thing of I used to do McDonald's until I realized that the iced caramel coffee that I would get from McDonald's, it was hitting different in a way that I wasn't appreciating. And then I went to Starbucks, and the Starbucks iced coffee hit perfect. And I was like, cool. I know they have the formula down perfect. It's like the Krabby Patty from Krusty Krab, right? It's the perfect formula. They got it down. This is my go-to, and I know
of
this is
sugar
gonna do
you were
right.
taking in the morning wasn't good for you.
No, it was not. It was, dude. It was doing something else to me. I don't know what's in that iced coffee from McDonald's.
High
Whatever it
fructose
is,
corn
it ain't
syrup.
good. It is not good. It is not good, Andy. But enough about that. Let's talk about some video game news. Let's talk about
Let's do
today's
it.
stories, which include God of War on PC. The review embargo is up. Stalker has gotten delayed, and there's more to talk about because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday at 10 a.m. live right here on twitch.tv/KindaFunnyGames. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. If you're watching live, you can correct us when we get stuff wrong by going to kindafunny.com/you're wrong. If you don't want to watch live, you can watch later on youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames, roosterteeth.com, or you can listen later on podcast services around the globe by searching for Kinda Funny Games Daily. Remember, you can use Epic Creator Code Kinda Funny on all Epic Store and Epic in-game purchases like Rocket League and Fortnite to help support the channel. To be a part of the show, to patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames, with bronze members or above, get to write in, and silver members or above, get the show ad-free with the exclusive daily post show. Housekeeping for you. Before I even get into housekeeping, I was going on a story with my coffee run, and I forgot where the story was going. I didn't even get there.
I think you were just worried about being seen in public by somebody.
Yes.
Was that what it was?
Well, that was part of it. The other part of it was me talking about how much the coffee turned around my day. Because let me tell you, before I had the coffee, I was like in low-key depression mode. I was like, man, man, the days are all the same. It's all blending together. The pandemic is
what's
getting
the
to
point
me.
of life? Yeah.
What's the point anymore? And let me tell you, once the coffee hit my system, and when I took a big gulp of coffee as soon as I got this thing in my hands this morning. I was in my car just
today
downing this thing.
specifically. You were like
Today
sad.
specifically.
Kevin, I mean,
specifically.
I'm hearing Bus talk. It sounds like he's on his 5th one right now. Like, this is
Yeah.
insanity right now.
Well, I think it is the way that I down the coffee when I first got it.
Okay.
You just
but no,
takes
like,
it straight down.
Yeah.
these are a lot of days before I had my coffee. Once I had my coffee, I was like, man, life is great. You know, like I was listening to a Drake song, and I was like relating to the lyrics a little bit too hard. You know, I was like, oh, man. There was a line where he was like, my life's a completed checklist. And I was like, oh, man, Drake, you know what? I'm feeling that. My life's a completed checklist, too. I've made it. I've done all the things I wanted
Much
to do.
smaller
Already, that
checklist.
kind of funny. I was feeling like really good about life as soon as I downed the coffee. And so,
That's good.
I took
Shout out
that
to
as a
coffee.
negative. I took the quote, the 2022 quote from Blessing Adeoye Jr. of, I was in the car relating to Drake lyrics a little too much.
no,
I took that as
was
a
the-
negative, sad.
it was the
thing.
hype Drake. That's a good point.
Got it.
There's
Okay.
two Drakes. Yeah, there's the sad Drake. But no, I'm talking about like hyped, like, I'm gonna talk about how rich I am to make you feel
Okay.
poor, Drake. That was the Drake
Cool.
I was relating to. Forbes 30 under 30. I was feeling myself.
Got
after
it,
the coffee.
got it.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
great. It was great. Housekeeping for you. Gamescast is recording today, and it's our Game of the Year episode. You can tune in live on Patreon at 12:30 p.m. Pacific time to catch the episode, or watch it as it goes live for everyone tomorrow on youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames and on podcast services around the globe. And it's gonna be a really exciting episode because not only do we have the Gamescast cast on it, we have an expanded cast of
Oh, yeah.
hosts. Because we're bringing in the XCast host and we're bringing in the PSLW host. And I know what you're thinking, aren't you on the shows already? When I say PSLW host, I'm talking about Janet Garcia. I'm talking about Parrish is coming through. I'm talking about Stillback Mike. It's going to be a good time. We all gotten our votes in for Game of the Year. And so tune into the episode to see what we crown as the best game of 2021.
I'm really Bless. I'm super stoked. When I had gotten back, I think I may have been the last one to submit my stuff to Barrett because I was in the process of flying back over here to San Francisco. And I submitted my top 10 to Barrett. And then I had something happen to me that made me change the top 10. And then Barrett looked at me and was like, first he licked his lips, first off. Licked his lips, and he was like, that changes things. And I got really excited. I got really excited.
What you changed? You put Returnal higher, didn't you?
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah,
Who
I
knows?
hope so. I hope so.
Second thoughts, yeah.
I had the thought earlier, a couple days ago, actually. I was like, man, I wonder how late is too late to get a change into Barrett. Because I finished
You can
ending
do it right
B.
now. I just talked
I finished
to him. He said he's
ending
open
B
to
of
it.
Near Replicant. Maybe I could text Barrett. I finished, and this isn't going to change anything on our list because nobody else played Near Replicant here.
No,
but I finished
no.
ending B, and I was like, shit, man, this changes things on my personal list. This is a fucking great
Dude,
game.
this is hilarious because Mike was talking about like putting in his vote, and he was like, yeah, and then Barrett said something about like, this changes things. I would love it if Barrett just to everyone when they
Said
turn
it to
stuff in,
everyone?
is like, oh shit, this changes things.
That'd be really great, honestly. That'd be a great bit from Barrett. I absolutely love that. Thank you to our Patreon producers, James Davis at James Davis Makes, Blackjack, and Pranksy. Today are brought to you by MeUndies, DoorDash, and Chime, but we'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin with what is, and forever will be, the Roper Report. It's time for some news. We have 6 stories today.
Baker's dozen.
Do you know what I'm most excited about when it comes to our Game of the Year episode is that I have no idea what's winning. There are like 5 different games that I could pitch as like, oh yeah, I bet we all went this route. But it's the thing of like, you know, Deathloop. Multiple of us either didn't play Deathloop. Right? Like, I don't think Tim played that much of Deathloop. And I know multiple other people that didn't play that much of that game. Halo Infinite. Greg didn't play Halo Infinite. Right? Like Metroid Dread. It's like what is the game that's gonna win? Who knows?
Hard,
you have to tune in to see. I can't wait.
Did you give up on Metroid Dread?
Hard?
I mean, I didn't give up on it, but I'm on like the second time you meet the fucking robot that's chasing you, and I just keep screaming.
Yeah, you just gotta run away, homie. You can't fight it.
Yeah, I'm not good at the buttons. I'm not good at the buttons.
Oh yeah, the buttons. Yeah, when there's buttons, that's tough.
Yeah. But buttons are a difficult thing about video games. Also, some people in chat are saying Life is Strange, and that's another one where it's like the folks, the ones of us here who have played Life is Strange adore Life is Strange, but I think there are more people who haven't played it. Because like you're talking about me, Greg, and Janet at that point. And I think Barrett, also played it, but I don't know if it's high on Barrett's list.
And are you gonna are you blessing, or are you, Janet and Greg, the ones who play Life is Strange, gonna pull an Imran and tank The Last of Us 2 in order to fuck up the rankings? Are you gonna put Life is Strange at number 1 in order to really weigh out the results? I mean, shit.
I'm not
crazy.
I'm not that kind of voter. I just put in my honest list, the way it is, unchanged. That's why, again, I have Near Replicant on that thing. Nobody else played Near Replicant. That game is not going to be on our official list. But hey, it's true to me. That's how I go about it. If other people want to play games, Greg Miller, Janet Garcia, go for it, because I'll be very happy to see Life is Strange get number 1 on our list. But I digress. Let's talk about our story number 1. God of War on PC has a review embargo that is up. I got a review roundup for you. And also, Andy Cortez has played some God of War on PC, and so I'm going to pick your brain about it. But I want to start off with Metacritic, right now sitting at a 93. I'm going to jump to Jordan Midler at VGC, who gave it 5 stars and says, it's hard to overstate how much better the PC release of God of War feels when compared to its console counterpart. God of War always felt somewhat visually ahead of its time on the PlayStation 4. On original release, its inconsistent frame issues, coupled with the fact that running the game at a smooth 60 was basically fantasy, marred what was an aesthetically enriching experience. Now that PC players can finally experience 4K visuals at a rock-solid 60 frames per second and beyond, playing God of War on PC feels like you're watching your favorite film on pristine film print, having only ever viewed it previously on pirate DVD. God of War on PC is the definitive way to play an absolutely essential game. It's never looked better, bringing into sharp relief an art style that's colorful, brutal, and incredibly inventive, with practically faultless performance, even on a machine that isn't at the absolute bleeding edge of PC technology. Even if you've played God of War on the PS4, it's more than worth going back to for another trip up the mountain. And then Morgan Park at PC Gamer gave it a 90 out of 100 and says, my second God of War playthrough was my best playthrough, and it had everything to do with the higher frame rate I enjoyed with this PC port. Like Days Gone and Horizon Zero Dawn before it, God of War flies on a good PC. On an RTX 3060 at 1920 by 1080, I was able to crank up the target FPS to 90 and mostly stay there with NVIDIA DLSS set to quality. I noticed things got a little choppier during doorway transitions to the open world lake area, but the frames would steady after a while. God of War also runs fine without DLSS, though at this point, NVIDIA's upscaling tech has gotten so good, I'm not sure why you'd ever flip it off when it's available. Little issues that plagued earlier versions of DLSS, like that weird ghosting effect you'd see on small floating particles, are cleaned up nowadays, and what's left is an AI-assisted, upscaled image that I can hardly discern from a native 1080p image. The magic trick may be less convincing if you scale it down to balanced or ultra performance, but quality is a safe bet for 1080p gaming. Andy Cortez, does your experience with God of War on PC relate to these ones?
Absolutely. This is one of the better PC ports I've tried out in quite some time. I don't know if we necessarily count Guardians of the Galaxy as a PC port. I mean, I know it came out with the rest of the projects. I guess I normally talk about PC ports when it comes to a console game being released several years later on a PC. But Jetpack Interactive handled this port, and it runs phenomenally well. I have a RTX 3080, so I certainly have the hardware to run it well, but god dang, it sings. I think one of the coolest things about it, Bless, is that you can swap between low graphics, high graphics, ultra graphics, and original graphics. And the original graphics are what you would see on the PS4 Pro. And you can kind of get a really quick, easy A/B comparison between what it would look like on a PS4 Pro versus what it would look like currently running on your, your RTX 3070, 3080, or whatever, with DLSS on, higher, higher textures. We're talking better environment, sort of like fog and things of that nature. It is one of the nicer PC ports I've played in a long time. I've been averaging about 120 frames a second. And it, again, with DLSS on, it does such a great job. This is not a sponsored thing, by the way, but I love the tech, and it does such a great job with maintaining the game's performance. This game rules, and I can't wait to fully replay it now that because I've kind of just dabbled in the intro sequences quite a bit.
Dabbling, what's it been like so far? Like, has it been the God of War 2018 game that you remember?
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, it
still holds up.
It's still, totally. Playing it through that intro, Bless, and just seeing these performances being captured, and you knew you were playing something special at the time, and it's even more so evident after several years of kind of being able to look back on it. Performance runs incredibly well. This is a total win for PC players who generally don't play console games. You get to play one of the best games ever made, I think, on PC now at whatever specs you prefer. It runs great. I haven't tried ultra wide support yet. I should try that. I tried that out on Horizon Zero Dawn's PC port, which got a recent update, and now that runs a lot smoother with DLSS. I tried that on ultra wide, but I haven't tried God of War on ultra wide yet, and I definitely need to give that a shot.
Yeah, I booted up a little bit this morning after I read these reviews, because these reviews are super glowing. And even as you look at other reviews that are out online now, everybody has very glowing things to say about God of War on PC. And upon booting it up, I immediately was like, oh, let's fucking go. As I saw the game fill my widescreen, right?
Yeah.
Like, that alone was enough to make me go, oh yeah, like this is a nice perk, right? To get to play this game in widescreen like this on my widescreen monitor. But then also, like, the game of course looks gorgeous, right? And it's the thing of, it's God of War. And for me, the main reason why I want to hop in has less so to do with just the PC port itself, and more so another reason to go back to God of War 2018. Because I'm sure plenty of other people did. The game came out and I binged it, right? I could not wait for God of War 2018. I saw the reviews and I was like, oh, let's fucking go. And I played that game and beat it in like a week. But sadly, I've not gone back since, because I've not really had a reason to go back since, right? It's not like they've been dropping DLC, or that there's been multiple reasons to go back to the game. And so for me, this is a great reason to go back. I'm sure plenty of people are going to treat it as a great reason to go back and re-experience the game once again. And all of what they're talking about in the reviews have me hyped. The thing that makes me sad is that I don't have NVIDIA, right? I'm rocking a different graphics processor, and so, like, I'm not going to get those benefits of DLSS and all that. But regardless, still looking forward to it. It still sounds really exciting.
Yeah, definitely runs really well. You're in for a treat, PC gamers. You're in for a damn treat. And I was part of the review crew back in the day when we reviewed it on Gamescast. So I was part of the ones reviewing it before embargo, and then we got to do that really awesome. Still one of my favorite pieces of content we've done at KindaFunny, where we did the spoiler cast with Corey Barlog and talked a lot of story tidbits and also just development behind the scenes sort of things happening at Sony Santa Monica. And this is a game that I haven't ever gone back and fully replayed, and now this is the perfect excuse to.
Hell yeah. Andy, speaking of PlayStation, we got some breaking news. Sony's Firesprite has taken over the Twisted Metal reboot, as Motorstorm director has been hired. This is Andy Robinson at Video Games Chronicle. PlayStation's newly acquired Firesprite studio has taken over Lucid Games' unannounced Twisted Metal reboot and poached its game director, VGC Understands. VGC reported earlier this week that Destruction All-Star studio Lucid had ceased development on a reboot of the classic car combat series. We now understand that UK-based Firesprite, which was acquired by Sony last year, is the developer which has taken over the Twisted Metal project. It's unclear why Sony has decided to move to the project to its new first-party studio, but it's worth noting that Lucid and Firesprite are located barely 15 minutes from each other in Liverpool, UK, and there's now evidence of staff moving over, so there you go. As spotted by a Reset Era user, Matt Southern, the director of various Motorstorm games, plus the original pitcher for Drive Club, has this month left his role as game director at Lucid to take on the same role at Firesprite. It's unclear if Southern was working on Lucid's Twisted Metal project or if he'll be working on the franchise at his new employer. Firesprite has multiple projects in production, including the newly announced PlayStation VR 2 game Horizon: Call of the Mountain. And this one, I like the clarification on it. This is one that we speculated about a couple days ago, and I mean, I think it was me that came down on, well, it's either Firesprite or London Studio, and I think Firesprite just makes more sense, as Firesprite is now one of PlayStation's biggest developers over there in Europe, and they probably have a lot of bandwidth, right? I think the big question was, hey, is Firesprite focused solely on VR since they're working on Horizon and they're coming off of making other VR games? But now that they have Twisted Metal in their hands, it seems like, no, that studio is going to expand to making even more projects outside of VR, which I think is super exciting.
That's pretty neat. I mean, I think a lot of this news is still super early, and I guess we will look forward to hearing more about this game in about a year and a half to 2 years, maybe a little bit further down the line development wise, or maybe Firesprite is picking up on development and taking over what was already produced. Maybe there are some things that were made by Lucid, but yeah, we'll wait and see. I feel like it's always when I'm hosting the show with you, Bless, that we get news about Twisted Metal, and I have very little out of the conversation.
I noticed that too,
So
right?
little.
We always get the Twisted Metal news.
Such a few amount of things to say.
I mean, I do have the question of like, what the fuck is then happening at Lucid? If they're losing people to Firesprite and they're coming off of Destruction All-Stars, which wasn't great, and having this project stripped from them, I'm curious how much more, if any more, we see from Lucid Games. That's kind of like a scary, turbulent event to go through. But yeah, like I also think it's interesting that like I still have the question of what is the plan with this Twisted Metal game? Is it really going to come out next year around the same time as the show? Is that still going to be the plan? It doesn't have to be for Twisted Metal. I don't immediately jump to the biggest budget. Like I don't immediately jump to like a huge ass scope, right? This game is probably going to be a game that is going to be an ongoing online, hey, we're going to put this thing out and grow it with the audience type of experience. But even then, they're working on a pretty quick turnaround if the plan is to have this out by summer 2023. And so I'm curious to see how that goes.
Yeah, well, never a great thing to suddenly lose a bunch of employees to a different studio. We'll see their next project, we'll see what's in the makings for them, but they did tweet out 8 hours ago that they are looking to grow their team.
Ooh.
So
Yeah,
possibly working on something else, maybe Destruction All-Stars 2, Bless.
we'll have to see. Let's
Probably
jump in
not.
to our actual, hopefully not Destruction All-Stars too.
Mhm.
That's my other thing is that in the report that came out on Monday, it was said that Lucid is no longer working on Twisted Metal because of the poor performance of Destruction All-Stars. And it's weird to me that is a decision that got made recently as opposed to back earlier in the year when it was obvious that Destruction All-Stars wasn't going to perform. Like we knew as soon as Destruction All-Stars came out that game just didn't have the stuff and that people weren't flocking to it like that, especially coming out as a PS Plus game for free. That there's little excuse if you have a PS5 to not be able to play Destruction All-Stars, right? Like that should be a game that, because it's available to everyone, should be able to sustain itself theoretically. And the fact that it still came out to a thud, even being free for PS Plus members, that's wild. And this seems like a decision that should have been made a while ago. So the fact that it only got made recently, seemingly according to the reports, it's pretty wild to me. It also makes me think that there's more there.
It is one of those weird things where you wonder if Sony just really desperately wants to get in that Twisted Metal game because of the TV show and have those two things working together. But I don't know. This reminds me of here's this car combat game that failed. Let's try out another car combat game, but with a more familiar name. Is that going to really, be a marker of success for it. You know, this 3D platform we put out failed. Let's throw the Super Mario name on it, and hopefully it does better. Like it just seems like a weird. But that's not a great comparison. But I just don't understand. I don't think it's necessarily the name. Maybe it's just the genre. Maybe it's because was Destruction All Stars really that bad, or was it just not anything to really write home about? You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a combination of the genre and the game not living up. Where I did hop into Destruction All Stars and I just didn't have fun with it, right? And like I think there's stuff you can do with it. I think the game looked cool. The game had a cool style. The game had, I think, some promising stuff around in certain parts of it. You know, like it's a game that I could see performing if they actually got the core gameplay right. If the game was actually fun and actually spoke to people. But I think they missed out on that core thing. And if you miss out on that, and also you're already in a genre that just isn't thriving, that people don't flock to, you know, it's not like Hyperscape, where Hyperscape, the main fault of Hyperscape is that Hyperscape just didn't have the stuff. But I know I was excited for Hyperscape. I think you were excited for Hyperscape when we were leading up to that. I know other people that were excited for Hyperscape, and I think that's just purely off the promise of, oh, it's a new battle royale arena based, has some interesting ideas. Cool, we're excited for it because that's our genre, and plenty of people are looking for games in that genre. Destruction All Stars already exists as a car combat game, which are now few and far between in our of a bygone era. It does that, and also just didn't do anything interesting, which I think led to it falling flat. And I also see people mentioning in the chat that, like, you know, it being on PS5 didn't help it as well, talking about numbers. And yeah, but I think it's also the thing of like, Sony at that point knew how many PS5s there were going to be out there, right? Like chip shortage, yeah, is affecting PS5, but I think we're seeing it affect things more in the long term now that we are over a year past the release of the PS5. In month three or month three or two of the PS5 being out there, those numbers were going to be those numbers, right? Like those were and PlayStation and Sony know how many PS5s are going to be out there, and so they're adjusting those numbers accordingly and putting that game out knowing what that sphere is. That game still didn't perform even with those expectations, which, you know, I think it goes beyond it just being a PS5 only game, right? I think it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like that's got to be a decision that's made before all of Sony's recent sort of rhetoric and thoughts on cross-generation gaming. You know, this
Yeah.
was closer to a launch title than not. And
It's a game that was going to come out at full price, if you remember. This was a game that was going to be a paid game at the launch of the PS5, and at the last minute, they delayed it for a few months and then put it out on PS Plus. That should have been the thing that saved that game, because if that game came out at full price at the launch of the PS5, there would be even less to talk about with that game in terms of performance, right? That game would have came out on even like more of a thud than it already did. The fact that they adjusted in that way and it was still a thud, I think speaks volumes to what that game was.
yeah, and again, wild that it was one of those only PS5 games that, like chat was mentioning earlier,
Mm.
that again, I think this was back when all we heard from Sony was, hey, we believe in generations and you're going to get PS5 games. We're not going to do any of this cross stuff and lower the quality of what could be a PS5 only game. And I think a lot of the decision of making Destruction All Stars was likely behind that sort of thought process of, hey, let's release this game that's probably not going to be super great and not have a big player base on one of the most rare consoles you can get right now.
Yeah. Let's hop into the next news story. Story number 2, Stalker 2 has been delayed to December. This is Andy Chalk at PC Gamer. Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl, the long-awaited new addition to GSC Game World's cult shooter series, has been delayed. The studio said today that instead of arriving in April as planned, the game is now slated to launch on December 8th. Their statement reads as follows. Stalkers, we have made a decision to postpone the release of Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl to December 8th, 2022. These additional 7 months of development are needed to fulfill our vision and achieve the desired state of the game. Stalker 2 is the biggest project in the history of GSC, and it requires thorough testing and polishing. We are convinced that the development should take as long as necessary, especially in the case of such a project. This decision is not an easy one, but we are doing the best possible to deliver you a game that can live up to expectations. With more information, updates, and showcases coming, we have an exciting and an important year ahead. Thank you for your patience and understanding. With love, GSC Game World team. Andy, is this one that surprises you?
I mean, I'm not surprised by any delay nowadays. I did see Parrish being pretty bummed out about this delay because it really messed up his Fantasy Critic release window, I guess. I'm not really sure how the rules work in that fantasy league.
He's on thin ice. As long as it comes out in 2022, he's still good. But now,
Okay.
December,
Oh,
that's
we're
kind of
getting
close.
close.
That's kind
We're
of
getting close. I mean, a 7-month delay is always better than like a 2-month delay because I always feel like those are a little bit more worrisome. But that's a nice chunky delay, and hopefully they can get whatever they need to get done. Just like Iwata says, delay that shit now. This shit's gonna rock later.
Hell yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly like Wada says, and I agree. I think delaying it 7 months for polishing and figuring things out is I mean, I wouldn't say it's always good news, but it's definitely the better scenario in terms of between that or releasing a game that comes out and it's broken and it's unfinished and it's unpolished, right? We've learned with previous games that like just because something gets delayed doesn't mean it's always going to come out still super polished, right? In the case of something like Cyberpunk and other games, but it does imbue hope that hey, at least at least they're taking their time and at least they're making decisions to help make this game better than it would have been if they just decided to pull the plug and go, all right, push it out. It is what it is. We'll get the money and like see how people react to it later. No, it's a good thing that they're delaying.
How many publishers and developers do you think point to Cyberpunk as an example?
Oh man, I think a lot now. I think we're seeing games be delayed more freely. One, because of the pandemic and a lot of shit is uncontrollable. But I do think if it wasn't for Cyberpunk, we would be in a timeline where a few more games would have released undercooked in a way that it's like, oh man, really? Like this game it definitely isn't ready. I think we're seeing more games get pushed or more games feel comfortable with pushing because of Cyberpunk.
Interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
I always wonder, like, what are the publishers thinking in those moments, and are they a little bit more receptive to the idea of delaying more games? Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, because like the Cyberpunk, that game came out and was a story, right? Like one of the biggest news stories of the year, if not maybe the biggest news story of the year. I guess that bridged 2 years because that was like 2021 or no, 2020 going into 2021. But that was a huge thing, right? That like fucked up PR, fucked up them being on the PlayStation store because of the way that they reacted to it, fucked up, the pristine branding of CD Projekt Red and how they were known for greatness. That game, the state that it came out in, fucked up so much in a way that could have been avoided if they held off and went, hey, we still need way more time and delayed that thing. And I think it is a very easy example. It is the biggest example you can point to right now if you're a developer and you're like, yo, this shit is not coming together the way we need it on time to go, look at what happened with Cyberpunk 2077. You are fumbling the bag if you put this game out right now and actually being heard in saying that. And so, yeah, let's move on to story number 3. Kirby and the Forgotten Lands is coming in March. I'm pulling from Ash Parrish at not Games.biz, at I think The Verge. I'm going to double check that as I'm reading. Horizon Zero Kirby, better known by its official title, Kirby and the Forgotten Lands, launches on March 25th and has a new trailer showing off the game's co-op features and all the cool powers you'll be able to suck out the local fauna. The trailer showcases 2 new abilities Kirby can learn using the power of Vor, Drill and Ranger. With Drill, Kirby can dive underground, dodging attacks and surprise enemies from below. The Ranger ability gives Kirby a blunderbuss that he can use to snipe enemies from afar. Kirby and the Forgotten Lands features a town populated by Waddle Dees Kirby saves. The more Waddles he rescues, the more amenities and mini games are unlocked in the town. Kirby can
Amenities.
yeah, amenities. I love a lot of.
He's got a
verbiage
washer
in these.
dryer in unit now.
Kirby can moonlight at the Waddle Dee Cafe, serving up delicious treats quickly and to the right patrons to beat the high score. There's also fishing and gacha games Kirby can play. The journey through the Forgotten Lands can be solo or local co-op, with a second player taking command of Bandana Waddle Dee. As somebody who doesn't play Kirby, this feels like a ridiculous news story to read out loud.
Yeah.
Though there is no online
You sound
co-op,
ridiculous. Yeah.
yeah, thank you. Though there is no online co-op, players can connect online to see interesting stats like the most used copy ability or how many Waddle Dees players have saved. Kirby and the Forgotten Lands releases on the Nintendo Switch March 25th, 2022. This year also marks Kirby's 30th anniversary, which is really exciting.
It's interesting watching near the end of the trailer, because for the rest of sort of this new trailer that Nintendo just released, showing off the copy abilities and co-op on the Nintendo YouTube channel, it seems like the first third of the first 2/3 of the trailer just looks like any other 3D platformer, and I'm wondering, damn, didn't the reveal trailer have a much different distinctive tone? Like we were calling it The Last of Us Kirby with, having all these dilapidated, torn down cities and civilizations. And near the end of the trailer, we get a bit more of a hint of that. So I was watching the trailer. I'm just wondering the whole time, where are the broken down cities and all that shit? So it looks like those are still very much a part of it. But for the rest of it, it kind of just looks like a really cute 3D platformer with neat little bad guys. And it also just looks a lot prettier than what we've seen from other Nintendo trailers. And I wonder if that's just maybe the way it was rendered out. But it seems a lot cleaner of a look compared to like Pokemon Legends Arceus, the way the visuals look in that trailer.
Yeah, I think part of that might be art style, because I really like the art style of this new Kirby game. As somebody, as I mentioned earlier, right? Like I don't really play Kirby at all. I want to play Forgotten Lands because I think the game looks really cool. And to your point, like it's a really pretty looking game and a different looking Kirby game. Usually with Kirby games, I'm so used to them looking like very fluffy. I liked the art style of like what was it? Kirby Epic Yarn, I think it was what it was called. The Yarny art style I thought looked really cool. But like for the most part, when I see Kirby games, I'm kind of like, oh yeah, this looks like a platformer. This looks like a 2D platformer. There's not really much there that usually grabs me with Kirby. But for Kirby and the Forgotten Lands, it seems like they're doing a lot more with it. And the post-apocalyptic vibe of this game seems really cool, seems really different. I think the Last of Us comparisons are great and hilarious. And like even I think when the trailer originally released, I remember saying that like, yo, this looks like Nier Automata, right? This looks like a Nier game. And even in the article, she jokes and says Horizon Zero Kirby. And also I should mention that the article is from The Verge, Ash Parrish from The Verge. But she mentions Horizon Zero Kirby, and I'm like, yeah, dude, this game looks like a different Kirby game in a way that speaks to me art style wise. I think the art style looks awesome. I think the gameplay even shown in the trailer looks really cool. And I love that there's co-op. I love all the stuff that they're showing, and it makes me actually want to check this one out. And so good for Kirby.
Yeah.
You know what else is good? Patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames, where you can go to get the show ad free. And speaking of ads, let us tell you about our sponsors.
Relationships aren't perfect, and MeUndies is celebrating our imperfectly perfect matches with their new Valentine's Day collection. I don't have to read the ad anymore. I can just tell you I'm wearing MeUndies, ladies and gentlemen. Always have been, always will. Not always, I guess. But what happened is I had a bunch of underwear I didn't like that much, and then I tried a couple pairs of MeUndies, and I was like, these are amazing, and I ordered a whole bunch of MeUndies, and now it's all I wear, and I am due for more. Maybe I'll do it here. Back to the ad. Gifting underwear for Valentine's Day? Wow, real groundbreaking. Express your one-of-a-kind relationship when you match your bottom half to your better half in fun limited edition prints. And if you're single, don't worry, you can mingle in matching pairs with your friends or even get dog hoodies and buddy bands to match your four-legged pal. MeUndies has a great offer for our listeners. For a limited time only, get 25% off your first order of matching pairs for Valentine's Day. And as a first-time purchaser, you can also get 15% off and free shipping right now to your door. To get 25% off matching pairs, 15% off your first order, free shipping, and a 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/KindaFunny. That's MeUndies.com/KindaFunny. Guess what I use all the time, ladies and gentlemen? DoorDash. That's right. I come down here, I record the shows, I come upstairs, Jen's taking care of our newborn, is a 3-month-old, our 3-month-old, and guess what? We're both too tired to make food, so we order on DoorDash. We do it all the time, and you should too. You've got back-to-back meetings, errands to run, and chores to take care of. What's the secret to clearing your to-do list? A little help from DoorDash. Along with the restaurants you love, you can now get groceries and other essential items delivered to your door with DoorDash. Get drinks, snacks, and other household items in under an hour. With over 300,000 partners, you can support your neighborhood go-tos. Choose from your favorite national chains like Popeyes, Chipotle, and Cheesecake Factory. For a limited time, our listeners can get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when they download the DoorDash app and enter the code GAMES2021. That's 25% off, up to a $10 value, and 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter the code GAMES2021. Don't forget, that code is GAMES2021 for 25% off your first order with DoorDash, subject to change. Terms apply. Kick off 2022 with a better checking account with no monthly fees, no overdraft fees, no foreign transaction fees, and no service fees. Get all that and then some with Chime, an award-winning app and debit card. They've also got over 60,000 fee-free in-network ATMs all over the place, like at most Walgreens, 7-Elevens, or CVS's. You can access your money when you need it, where you need it. Make sure you make the first good decision of the new year and join over 10 million people using Chime. Sign up takes only 2 minutes and doesn't affect your credit score. Get started at chime.com/KFgames. That's chime.com/KFgames. Banking services provided by and debit card issued by Bancorp Bank or Stride Bank NA members, FDIC. Get fee-free transactions at a Money Pass ATM in a 7-Eleven location and at any Allpoint or Visa Plus Alliance ATM. Otherwise, out-of-network ATM withdrawal fees may apply. Sometimes pay anyone instant transfers can be delayed. The recipient must use a valid debit card or be a Chime member to claim funds.
Story number 4, Xbox Series S and X has hit 1 million UK sales in a strong December. This is Christopher Dring at gamesindustry.biz. 560,000 games consoles were sold in December in the UK, which generated just short of 200 million. I'm going to say pounds. I'm going to say that's the pounds symbol.
Crush it, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, gamesindustry.biz can reveal. According to GfK's panel data, it was another massive month for Nintendo Switch, which saw a 6% increase in console sales over November. November had already been a big month for Nintendo's machine due to a significant Black Friday activity. Around a new Mario Kart 8 Deluxe bundle. As a result, Switch was the #1 console of December. Just behind Nintendo was the Xbox Series S and X consoles, which enjoyed a bumper 108% increase in sales month on month. In fact, it is the biggest month yet for Xbox Series X and S, even beating its launch month in November 2020. The increase was driven by a significant increase in stock of the X version of the console. There have now been over 1 million Xbox Series consoles sold in the UK since its launch in November 2020, GfK says. It means PS5 slips to 3rd position this month, but it was still a successful sales period for Sony's platform, which enjoyed a 28% increase in sales compared with November. It was the 2nd biggest month for the PS5 and the biggest outside of its launch month. There you go. Andy, what are your thoughts on this one?
I'm thinking we should maybe change the symbol for the pound symbol. Is what I'm
You
thinking.
think so?
Plus.
Yeah.
Because it looks
I
like
saw
an E. It looks like an E. It looks like an L.
And as a dumb American, I'm like, oh man, it's either pounds or euros. I know it's gonna be one of those ones. I think euros is like the C with the line through it, and so I'm gonna say this is pounds.
Yeah, we should make it look more like a P. Make it, you know what? Make it Master P. Make it Master P's face. Is what I'm saying. Just have his face right next to it.
Now here's the thing. We say this, but again, as some dumb Americans, the dollar symbols looks nothing like what it should look like either. It's an S with a line.
It means like shit. You got money. That's what it means.
Yeah, shit.
God damn, you're balling. That's a good point. That's a really good point.
I mean, I got nothing. People buying video games, bless. That's cool, man. That's cool. Good for people buying video games. Good for Xbox, seeing more success out there. PlayStation, I wonder how much of that was based on their scarcity. Because normally Sony sells pretty well. So I gotta wonder how much of that is just people not being able to actually buy the console, and maybe parents saying, "Shoot, well, how about this $300 console called the Series S? It says Series on it. It's got to be just as powerful as that other big one." So I don't know, bless. That's all I got.
I'm googling right now because somebody was like, a C, it's an E, right? Kevin, if you get a chance, I need to pull up the euro symbol.
The euro?
Is euro symbol, yeah.
No, that's not an E.
Well, here's the thing. It's supposed to be an E, right? Like symbolically, it's an E. Like in terms of the shape, it is a C. It is a C with a line through it. You can't tell me that's not a C shape.
I mean it's a C shape, sure, but that it is an E.
It's an E. Yes. But when I describe it as a C with lines through it, look at that. Come on. You know what I mean when I say C with lines through it. Come on, guys. We're better than this. We're better than this. All right, Europe. Maybe stop eating beans for breakfast before you come back to breakfast, all right?
Fucking beans.
Fucking beans for breakfast.
No, all right, come on. Let's not shit on beans. They're for breakfast. They're really good.
They're really great. For breakfast?
No, for breakfast, the sweet beans? I mean, I eat that shit all day. Give me a fucking spoon and a 5-gallon can. I'll work my way to the bottom.
I mean, look, un taquito de frijoles, Kevin. Just I love that shit, but I'm not trying to put beans on toast, all right?
It works, though. Andy, it worked. Like, I grew up eating hot sauce and butter on bread, toasted bread. You know what I mean? That's a Peruvian thing. We do a ham amarillo.
That sounds like a personal choice.
That
No,
sounds
no, no,
more
that's a
normal to
brilliant
me
thing.
though than eating
It's so
bread
good.
with beans.
What kind of hot
Sounds more
sauce
normal
was
to
it?
me. Yeah.
It's called ají amarillo. It's like a almost.
Well, you made
It's
that
got a
sound
hint,
good. You made that sound
of
really good.
sweetness and a little bit of tang. It's good and it works real well with butter. Oh man,
Oh.
I might go upstairs and have a piece of toast right now.
I heard tang. I thought you meant like it has the orange juice, the kick in the glass
It
tang.
is
Okay.
a
It's tangy.
a
Yeah, okay.
tanginess to it.
Yeah. I mean, 80, I think you're right in terms of like this is I think this entire story is due to availability. And I think the real news story here is the fact that, hey, when Xboxes are available, they're still selling out, right? Like 1 million is a pretty high number to reach for the UK. And it could be higher, of course, if availability was more available, right? If the consoles were more available. But the fact that in this last month they have been something that you've been able to get if you're in the UK, and they're still out there killing it in numbers, I think is probably the real news story here. And yeah, all of this, like the breakdown of like, yeah, Switch came in first, Xbox came in second, PlayStation came in third here, entirely due to stock.
And people
but-
still love Mario Kart 8, man. God damn.
oh yeah, dude, Mario Kart 8 still killing it. Which
Yep.
do you think we're gonna get a new Mario Kart anytime soon? There have been rumors recently that Nintendo's working on Mario Kart 9 now.
I have it on very good authority. Very good authority, bless.
Mm.
2024. Very good authority.
Man.
Bad authority, all mine. Just made it up right now.
I mean,
So
that sounds very accurate. That sounds very accurate.
Just a
I've always been team. There's no way you're getting the next Mario Kart anytime soon. But I think it was Jeff Grubb on Twitter who was like, "Hey, if they
that
put out,
guy's a fucking joke, by the way. He's
I
in
mean,
chat
he is
right
a
now. Hey,
joke. I
Jeff.
mean, have you seen
Hey, Jeff.
GameSpeed this morning? You know what I mean? Oh man,
Love you, Jeff.
oh man, riding about FCF. I think the thing he's mentioned on Twitter was that like, yo, if they put out Mario Kart 9, let's say later this year, for example, they could then put out Mario Kart 9 Deluxe on the next Switch and make so much money by double dipping on Mario Kart 9 twice, right? That'll get you more money than riding out Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for as long as possible. And when he mentioned that, I was like, damn, that is a good point, right? You can do the same strategy that you did with Mario Kart 8. I think that makes sense. That makes me think that we could see Mario Kart 9 sooner than later. Either way, man, it's still wild to see how well Mario Kart does, even still.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hop in to story number 5. Sony is dealing with the PlayStation 5 shortage by making more PS4s. This is Takashi
crazy.
Mochizuki.
Hopefully
and
they won't
Debby
notice.
Fucking
Hopefully the consumers won't notice.
no,
You
the
just put-
bar's
you just
so
put a
low.
sticker
The
on it.
bar's so low that they'll just. He's like, fuck it. They'll buy PS4s. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, it doesn't matter anymore. This is Takashi and Debby at Bloomberg. Sony will continue producing PlayStation 4 consoles throughout 2022 as it navigates disruptions to the global supply chain that have limited output of the PlayStation 5. Sony, whose flagship PS5 console has been in scarce supply since its debut in November 2020, told assembly partners late last year that it would continue making its earlier generation machine through this year, according to people familiar with the matter. While Sony never officially announced when it would stop making the PS4, it had previously planned to discontinue assembly at the end of 2021, they said, asking not to be named as the plans are not public. The strategy would add about 1 million PS4 units this year to help offset some of the pressure on the company's PS5 production, a figure that will be adjusted in response to demand, the people said. The older console used less advanced chips, is simpler to make, and provides a budget-friendly alternative to the PS5. Increasing production orders by adding the cheaper-to-make PS4 would also give Sony more leeway when negotiating with manufacturing partners for a better deal, two of the people said. A Sony spokesperson confirmed PS4 production would continue this year and said the company had not planned to stop making the console. Quote, "It is one of the best-selling consoles ever, and there is always crossover between generations," the company said. So there you go. PS4 is still in vogue.
I mean, bless, people are buying the Series S. Why not also sell the PS4? We're such a cross-platform, cross-generation society nowadays.
Mhm.
Why not? You know, people will get the cheaper alternative to the PS5 because you could just click the upgrade button and you get the faster software. You get the faster software. Bless.
Yeah. They say the
Suddenly
PS4 is
upgrades.
the Mario Kart 8 of consoles. Is what
Mhm.
they say. You know, that shit
Absolutely.
that keeps on selling.
Jeff
But
Grubb
this
double
also
dip.
just makes sense, right? Like the demand is out there. People want their hands on consoles, and for people that are like not able to get a PS5, but might also just not have a PS4 and want to play the latest and greatest PlayStation games, you're still going to get Horizon on PS4. You're still going to get God of War Ragnarok on PS4. Miles Morales is available on PS4, right? There's still so much there that you can, there's so much bang for your buck that you can still get with a PS4, and you're saving money on it for the folks who maybe went last console generation without a console, or had just a Switch, or had just an Xbox, or just a PC, that are now growing in interest because of what the pandemic has done for demand. It makes a lot of sense that right now people still want to get their hands on a PS4, and PlayStation would continue to make them, even though previously they planned not to. I think this all lines up. So,
Question for you, Bless. This is just like a out of nowhere thought. I don't know if it's been rumored or not yet, but is Last of Us 1 remake going to be on PS4?
Oh, I doubt it. I mean, I don't think that's been in reports. They're not, nobody's necessarily leaked that aspect of it. I think the most we know is that people are saying that it's going to come out later this year. I would heavily doubt that it's on PS4. I feel like at that point you're double defeating the purpose, right? Like, I think when reports first started coming out about it, people were already like, "Why the fuck would you remake The Last of Us? That game is still modern. That game still plays great." I think 2 console generations removed, I can see the case of like, dude, what does a Last of Us on PS5 look like? Putting it on PS4 would be wild to me. I think the only thing that makes it make sense is if the goal with the remake is to make it play as much like Last of Us Part 2 as possible. And I guess in that case, it's a thing of, well, why not, right?
That's
Like,
it seems like a no-brainer to me to have it on PS4. Like I wonder if there was ever a thought to even put it on PS5 only. Like I think this is going to be a definite cross-platform game or cross-generation game, especially with more reports like what we're reading right now with the HBO show coming out soon.
That's a good point.
I think they're going to want to double dip and have, not everybody's going to have a PS5 first off. And The Last of Us Part 2 ran pretty well on PS4 Pro, so why not, double dip and have more units out in the wild to be able to sell a remake of a really good video game. I don't know.
Point. I think that also fits with the point of like where we're at with them still selling PS4s, and with the PS4 still being a viable console. I think in a perfect world, in a world where demand wasn't so screwed right now, I would see less of a reason of doing it. In the world that we're at right now, I could see it given what we're getting with Horizon and God of War. I think it's the thing of, you still want, I would imagine, as PlayStation to have the balance of, all right, here are the games that are cross-platform and here are the games that are exclusive to the platform, right? In the way that Ratchet and Returnal were PS5 only, right? Deathloop, PS5 only. But for some titles, we still want to straddle that line because we want to be able to still get that return on those things. Last of Us Remake, I could see as a game that could, sell PS5s to some extent, because it's The Last of Us and it's an important title. But I do think that is a good point of like, hey, the point of this is to take advantage of the HBO show, and it is to kind of like continue to push Last of Us as like a popular brand and continue to keep it in the minds of the consumer. So I guess in that case, I can see it either way. But for me, it's more of like, what's the point of putting it on PS4 when like the Last of Us already plays so well on PS3? Last of Us Remastered is already on PS4, and that game still plays so well. It's the thing you can go back to. I find it weird optically, but business wise, I can see the reason. I think that's a good point.
I also just wonder about budgetary sort of stuff. Like, are they going to go full on crazy with, because the Last of Us Part 2 looks the way it does because a lot of motion capture and facial data capture and stuff like that. And can you really replicate that visual fidelity and put it over, newer models set to those old animation rigs? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's my mind's going wild. It's going wild right now, Bless.
Speaking of wild, let's round out this report with another story about PlayStation. Story number 6, PlayStation has published the PSN top downloads of 2021. This is Justin Massongill at the PlayStation blog. I'm just pulling their top 10s here, right? And so let's start off with PS5 games. For US and Canada, the top 10 PSN downloads for 2021 read like this. At number 10 is Far Cry 6. Number 9, Resident Evil Village. Number 8, MLB The Show 21. At number 7, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. At number 6, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. At number 5, Battlefield 2042. At number 4, Madden NFL 2022. Number 3, Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. At number 2, Call of Duty Vanguard. And at number 1, the top download, NBA 2K 22. That is for
Okay.
PS5. To give PS4 real quick, again, this is for US and Canada. You're looking at number 10, Mortal Kombat 11, number 9, MLB The Show 21, number 8, Red Dead Redemption 2, number 7, NBA 2K21, number 6, Madden NFL 22, and number 5, Call of Duty Vanguard, number 4, NBA 2K22, and number 3,
Damn.
Minecraft, yeah, right, and number 2, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, and at number 1, Grand Theft Auto 5. Andy, do these numbers surprise you?
Which were any of these games PS Plus titles? Do we know?
That's a really good question.
Because I feel like 2K21 at one point was a PS Plus title, and
I
that
was gonna say
may
the
be
same.
that may be why we're seeing a double dipping of
2K.
two NBA games on PS4. I'm not sure though. I wonder if there's just a list of like PS Plus games throughout the year. That's the thing I noticed the most, and I think that was a story of a couple days ago. Is Spider-Man Miles Morales beating out Black Ops Cold War,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool and pretty awesome for the team at Insomniac. Because that's not something you necessarily expect to see. Again, this is just downloads. This isn't necessarily purchases overall, but I still think it's pretty damn neat to see a single player game like that doing as well as it is amongst the higher, talked about games like the multiplayers that we're used to with Call of Duty, Madden, NFL, NBA up there. Battlefield 2042 at 5 is pretty shocking to me. I would not have expected that to be that high.
Yeah, I think Battlefield is very impressive. I think like GTA 5 we know is still a sales juggernaut and will probably always continue to be, but seeing it at number 1 even above Black Ops Cold War, I think it is really interesting, and I'm sure part of that is the fact that Black Ops Cold War came out in November, and so going up against GTA 5, it's hard to like get those sales over on PS4 specifically. But yeah, like Spider-Man Miles Morales, I think that speaks a lot to, one, the power of Spider-Man and the IP of Spider-Man, two, how fucking good the Spider-Man games are on PlayStation. Like I've been playing the Spider-Man DLC, The City That Never Sleeps, on Spider-Man Remastered
Really
on
good
PS5.
DLC.
It's a good DLC. A lot of
Yeah.
people, I didn't play it originally. Well, I played a little bit of it originally. I played like episode 1, but I saw that like a lot of people just weren't feeling it, and so like that combined with me just being over Spider-Man at that point, because I was coming off of playing the full game and 100%ing it, I was just like, cool, I don't think I need to play the rest of this. Going back to it, I'm like, dude, this is awesome. This is an awesome DLC. I think the screwball missions, yeah, get repetitive, and I just stayed away from those. I just mainlined the story, and the story is pretty good. But it was a reminder of like, yo, this game, Spider-Man, is fucking amazing. Just from like how swinging feels, how combat feels, how dope that open world looks, especially on the PS5 when you have performance mode and that game looks that smooth. Incredible game. And it's incredibly popular too. Like even as I scroll, and I'm on TikTok all the time. As I scroll through TikTok, so much of my FYP, my For You page, my timeline is filled with Spider-Man game stuff. People just posting clips from the Spider-Man game. People posting like them doing tricks of them swinging around in the city and shit. People post that on TikTok, and they get a surprising amount of views and a surprising amount of likes. Like there's something that Spider-Man has in it. There's that Spider-Man crack that they have in that game and that IP that really pushes it and makes it super popular. And so shout out to Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales, because yeah, some good games out there.
And the fact that Rift Apart is over Call of Duty Black Ops is pretty impressive for me. Now, granted, the PS4 version is very, very high up there, and because that's where a lot of their player base is, but it's still really neat to see Ratchet and Clank at number 6.
Yes, Call of Duty is wild because I forgot about Vanguard, right? I forgot, Black Ops Cold War. If you asked me, I would have been like, oh yeah, that was the last one that came out. I fucking totally forgot about Vanguard. And dude, as somebody who's like a little bit more entrenched in that world than me, because you play Warzone and shit, is Vanguard like? Are people out there playing it? Like, what's the conversation around Vanguard? Did it not hit as hard as Black Ops? Is it just us because we're in the media space and media doesn't really care about Call of Duty as much?
I know a lot of the core player base is not super happy with the way that the changes that have come to Warzone. I know you're talking about your For You page on TikTok. My For You page is just a lot of people not happy with certain things that happen in the Battle Royale version of Warzone. And yeah, it's definitely not as popular, and it's definitely seen quite a drop in popularity where the biggest streamers are kind of still playing it every once in a while because maybe there's just not a whole lot else to play. But definitely some people have dropped off. I dropped off of Warzone long before Vanguard, though. I got so kind of soured on the experience. And a lot of that was just me getting shit on by people running the same skins and just getting destroyed. It just got to like, God, I'm just so tired of like sweating this hard and just dying all the time. I'm terrible at this. I don't want to play this anymore. And then I thought this would have been a return, but it just seems like a lot of people aren't super happy with how Raven is treating the multiplayer experience. And Raven seems to be continuing to make choices that kind of upset the bigger influencers, which then kind of that opinion will dissipate to a lot of their audiences. So you kind of run into that. Well, is this how everybody feels, or is this just how the biggest streamers feel? You know, like that's always a thing that I'm kind of battling that I still don't quite understand, because I have yet to hop into Caldera, I believe is the name of the new Warzone map.
Gotcha. Well, Andy, I'm interested to see where Call of Duty goes from here, but the next Call of Duty game is just so far away. If I want to know what's coming out to mom and grop shops today, where would I look?
The official list of upcoming software across each and every platform, as listed by the KindaFunny Games Daily Show hosts each and every weekday. I read that off my mind. I didn't even read the fucking sheet.
There you go. Yeah. That was like leading a choir. That was great. That was like a Sister Act 3 in a theater.
Out of key. It's okay.
Great movie.
Yeah, has that come out yet?
It's coming soon.
Coming soon?
It's coming soon.
I can't wait for it. I can't wait for it.
You know what I mean? I'm glad someone's excited, because I got a lot of shit about it, and this is making me more and more. No. But let's wrap this up. I got Fortnite to play. Come on.
All right, I'll wrap this up. Out today, we got Mushroom Wars 2 for PS5 and Xbox Series X. The Kids We Were Complete Edition for PC. Monster Hunter Rise for PC. The McLaren 765 LT is now available in Rocket League. And then Phantasy Star Online 2's new Genesis Winter event begins today and lasts until February 8th. New dates for you. Kung Fu Kickball, the team-based sports platform fighter, comes out February 10th with full crossplay support for PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC. And then Not for Broadcast is coming to PC on January 25th. Remember, you can go to kindafunny.com/you're-wrong, where you write in and let us know what we got wrong as we got it wrong, so we can correct it for those watching later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames and on podcast services around the globe. Come on, guys. Vayner SN is in here writing about breaking news. Firesprite is making Twisted Metal. Trust us, all right? We got this. We got a team at Kinda Funny, all right? I got a team that works behind me that keeps me updated on the news. You don't have to worry about it, all right? Somebody's correcting me.
You got a team that works behind you is really fucking good. That's
huge
a great
team of producers.
Yeah, we got a team of producers. We're covered, all right? And y'all, Ghostbed is writing with her "You're Wrong" from Monday's show about me saying the world is overpopulated. So that's where we're at. That's where we're at. You're wrong today. Oh, shit. Let's see.
Kebab said that I butchered the quote and that it was Miyamoto who said it, not Iwata. I've heard it both ways.
Yeah, it's
Kebabs.
true. I think what you're thinking.
Also, that was the joke.
Yeah, that's the joke. We butcher it every single time. Is the thing. Nano says that actually none of the top sellers on PSN went free on PS Plus. So there you go. I think you're probably thinking of NBA 2K20, because I also remember downloading a free NBA 2K game off
Thank
PS
you,
Plus.
Nano. Yeah, I actually opened up that list. Game Rant put out a list of all the games that were released throughout the year, and NBA was nowhere to be found, but PGA 2K21 may have been what I was thinking about.
Wait, that was free?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I wonder if I redeemed that.
That was on PS Plus. Hey, Friday, are you playing Everybody's Golf with me and Greg?
Dude, if you'll have me, I'm down. That sounds like a fun time. I didn't want to. It seems like it's gonna be you and Greg, so I didn't want to like step in.
Oh no!
I think it's open to hang out.
Both you guys.
We're trying to get Nick in as well, because did you see that photo that Greg tweeted out? Kevin, can you bring that up and look for that?
Oh,
it might take a while.
What you're talking about?
Yeah, it might take me a second, and I'm trying to play.
As you're bringing it up, let me all do the next thing, which are tomorrow's hosts.
We could just drop it. I feel like
I can bring it up
because this is gold.
No, I'm working. I was just joking. Obviously, I'm working on it, Andy.
That's it for kindafunny.com/you're-wrong. Tomorrow's hosts for the show are going to be Greg and Tim. If you're watching this live on Twitch right now after this, it's Gas Station Simulator with Kev, Nick, and Joey.
I think we're just going Fortnite.
Oh, is this Fortnite? Okay, it was Fortnite with Kev, Nick, and Joey.
Nick's all in all of a sudden. I love it.
Does Nick ever
that's
play
great.
Fortnite? I don't think I've seen
Nick's
Nick play
in the Fortnite. Yeah, we played during the stream, the 12-hour stream.
Damn, that's
great.
awesome. Good for
Oh,
him.
man, we fragged out last night, Kevin. We had a night in Fortnite last
We
night,
had a
dude.
great time. Switch to
Great
browser.
time. So for audio listeners, if you wonder why we're laughing a lot, we back in the day when everybody's
Fucking
golf
sort it
came
out.
out,
You know what I mean? Open up
we were
YouTube
gonna
and find out.
we were gonna record a party mode for everybody's golf that we never got to, and I created Nick on Greg's PS4. I created Nick in everybody's golf, and I gave him the body of a child. And I forgot we did it, and Greg said, "Yeah, I hopped in the game to kind of go like check it out and practice a bit." And I forgot that you made Nick, and he is just kind of in my gallery, just hanging out, no shoes.
Little
just
Nick,
a
little
kid.
Nick.
No, his big ass head. It's the big head that really makes it. Him looking
Oh
up
my
at
God,
Greg.
It looks incredible.
Why is
He's
so
looking up at Greg like he
small.
wants to play games on
Yeah.
his phone.
Wait, so why doesn't he have shoes?
I don't know.
Okay, all right, good enough for me.
Mom said
good
it's
enough
my
for me.
turn to use the Xbox.
Because the turf is comfortable. The turf is comfortable.
Mom said it's my turn. It's great. All
Also,
right,
you
wrap
know,
it up.
like,
Wrap it up. Let's go.
Let's
play,
let's not knock people for not wearing socks. All right,
Andy, I'm just saying, in between the post show and Gamescast, maybe come play a couple games with me and your
We'll
boys. Me and
We'll
your boys.
see. Let's see.
We have Roger
Well-
for a couple games, but only for a couple.
Okay.
Well, this has been Kind of Funny Games Daily. We're each and every weekday live right here on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. We have a Patreon post show for those that are subbed at the silver level of patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. So stick around for that. Otherwise, until next time, Game Daily.